Pakistan cricket team's Champions Trophy campaign ended without winning a single game, but the country's journey in the tournament continues as hosts. Much like their cricket team's fortunes, the nation is facing the heat for a poor show in organizing the ICC tournament too. Pakistan Cricket Board, or the PCB, is once again getting flack for their management skills or the lack of it. They were trolled after another match was called off due to rain. The all-important Afghanistan versus Australia encounter, which was washed out after rain interrupted play during the second innings. Just 30 minutes of rain during Australia's run chase proved to be too much for the Gaddafi Stadium to handle. A poor drainage system led to the match getting called off. The ground staff was trying to remove the wet patches by sponges and wipers. And it isn't just the facilities on the ground. In a video that is going viral, fans can even be seen complaining about the leaking roof inside the stadium. A country that invested millions on their renovation only to have been caught out during a small downpour. The internet didn't let Pakistan off too easily. Not the first time Pakistan's infrastructure has affected a tournament. Out of the 9 matches that Pakistan have hosted so far, 3 games have been a washout. South Africa versus Australia and the Pakistan-Bangladesh game, both in Rawalpindi, and the Afghanistan versus Australia match that was supposed to take place in Lahore. Now, while the other 2 still had persistent rain through the course, so it was still understandable, Pakistan could not really defend the washout in Lahore because it was just 30 minutes of rain that led to the entire match being called off. The reason why there is so much anger is because the game was a virtual knockout. Afghanistan put 273 on board in their innings. Australia were at 109 for the loss of 1 wicket in the 12th over by the time it started raining. Sure, Australia were in a commanding position when it began to drizzle, but in cricket, it isn't over until the very last ball, and Afghanistan had come into this match on a hot win over England. Now, by the time the rain, of course, settled and stopped, the ground had got so wet that umpires weren't hopeful that they could have carried on with the game, especially after looking at those wet patches. Australia and Afghanistan shared points, pushing Australia to 4, giving them a point advantage over Afghanistan, which is enough really for them to qualify for the semi-final and end Afghanistan's dream run in this tournament. The only concern is that the same Gaddafi Stadium that is set to, of course, host one of the semi-final encounters in less than 2 days, the second semi-final clash between South Africa and New Zealand. Over the next 3 days, this is how the weather really looks like when you look at what to expect in Lahore. Today, the chances of rain, of course, is around 24%. Tomorrow, it reduces to 8%, and on the 5th, the match day, it is just 2%. Of course, while the numbers may not be high or too worrisome at this point, given how the Afghanistan versus Australia game panned out, all it takes is a little shower to put the semi-final in jeopardy. So what happens then if there is no game due to adverse conditions, the weather, if the match is washed out on or is halted on the 5th, there is a reserve day on the 6th. The 2 sides will once again compete on the extra day. And even then, if there is no result, the team that topped the group, in this case South Africa, will qualify for the final. But of course, everyone will hope it doesn't come down to that. But is it all really that simple? What an extra day of cricket really means is that much less time before the final for whichever team qualifies among these two. A fixture that will take place in Pakistan if Australia win the first semi-final against India, which is in Dubai. Otherwise, the final is in Dubai if India get the better of Australia. Uncertainty in there too. So clearly another day would add more toll on the players and give them much lesser time to be ready for that final. More of travel than training for an ICC final, something most of the participating teams are already struggling to deal with. Given India is playing all of their matches in Dubai, the to and fro between UAE and Pakistan has been quite extensive for a few of the teams. The semi-final fixtures too were only confirmed last night when India managed to beat New Zealand. Because of this, both the teams in the other group, South Africa and Australia, actually flew over to train at the ICC Academy in Dubai while they awaited to know which of these two teams would have to in fact stay back. While the teams are experiencing all this chaos, fans are of course seeing the funny side of it. Sure, the internet laughed off the whole matter, but what these issues really highlight is the chaotic organization of the Champions Trophy, an event which was supposed to show Pakistan's hospitality as a host, with an ICC tournament returning to their country after nearly 3 decades. Well, their hospitality was there. It has unfortunately been their own team getting knocked out without winning a single game.
Merci beaucoup. Hi. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat ke logon ko meri namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Lahore, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.